Some football careers end with a gradual decline. Others end after one final season. But Sergio Aguero's ended almost overnight. One moment, he was leaving Manchester City as arguably the greatest striker in Premier League history. The next, he was standing on a stage in Barcelona, fighting back tears as he announced his retirement from football at just 33 years old. He wasn't finished because he had lost his goals. He wasn't finished because younger players had replaced him. He wasn't finished because he wanted to stop. His heart simply wouldn't let him continue. This is the story of a football legend, whose greatest chapter had already been written, and whose final dream never even had the chance to begin. This is Sergio Aguero, the dream that never happened. Long before the roar of the Etihad Stadium, before the Premier League titles, before the famous 93-20 moment, there was a small boy from Buenos Aires. Sergio Aguero was born on June 2, 1988, in Quilmes, Argentina. Nicknamed Kun, after a cartoon character he loved as a child, Aguero displayed extraordinary talent almost immediately. At just 15 years and 35 days old, he made his professional debut for Independiente. That made him the youngest player ever to debut in the Argentine Primera División, breaking a record previously held by Diego Maradona. The comparisons came quickly. His balance, his acceleration, his lethal finishing. Many believed Argentina had discovered its next great striker. Europe was watching, and before long, Spain came calling. In 2006, Atletico Madrid signed the teenage sensation. Replacing a legend is never easy. Replacing Fernando Torres was almost impossible. But Aguero didn't just fill the void. He became a star in his own right. Season after season, he tormented defenders across La Liga. His combination of explosive acceleration, close control, and clinical finishing made him one of Europe's most complete forwards. He formed a devastating partnership with Diego Forlán. Together, they helped Atletico win the UEFA Europa League in 2010. Aguero was named in La Liga's Team of the Season and established himself among the world's elite strikers. Europe's biggest clubs took notice. Then came the phone call that changed football history. Manchester City wanted him. In the summer of 2011, Manchester City paid around £38 million to bring Aguero to England. The club had ambition, new owners, money, but they still lacked one thing: a player capable of defining an era. Aguero announced himself in spectacular fashion. On his debut against Swansea City, he came off the bench, scored twice, and provided an assist. It was only the beginning. Less than a year later, football witnessed one of its greatest moments. May 13, 2012. Manchester City needed one goal against Queen's Park Rangers to win their first league title in 44 years. The clock showed 93 minutes and 20 seconds. Mario Balotelli found Aguero. One touch, one finish, one explosion of emotion. Martin Tyler's commentary became immortal. That goal didn't just win a title. It changed Manchester City's history forever. From that moment, Aguero wasn't simply a striker. He became a club legend. Over the next decade, he rewrote Manchester City's record books. Goals came from everywhere: left foot, right foot, inside the box, outside the box, headers, volleys, solo runs. He made scoring look routine. By the time he left England, he had scored 260 goals in 390 appearances, 5 Premier League titles, an FA Cup, 6 League Cups, 3 Community Shields. He became Manchester City's all-time leading scorer and one of the greatest players ever to grace the Premier League. Yet, one trophy continued to elude him: the Champions League. In 2021, Manchester City decided not to renew Aguero's contract. His injuries had become more frequent. Pep Guardiola was rebuilding the team, but Aguero still believed he had more to give. Then came Barcelona. The move made perfect sense. Barcelona needed an experienced striker. Aguero wanted one final challenge. Most importantly, he would finally play alongside his best friend. Lionel Messi. Football fans dreamed of watching Argentina's greatest attacking duo wearing the famous Blaugrana shirt together every week. But football can be cruel. Before Aguero even kicked a competitive ball, Barcelona's financial crisis exploded. Messi was forced to leave the club. The dream partnership disappeared before it had even begun. Still, Aguero remained determined. He recovered from injury. He made his debut. He even scored an El Clasico against Real Madrid. It looked like a new chapter was finally beginning. Then, everything changed. On October 30, 2021, during a La Liga match against Alaves, Aguero suddenly clutched his chest. He struggled to breathe. He walked off the pitch looking confused. Medical tests followed. The diagnosis: shocked football, a cardiac arrhythmia, an irregular heart rhythm. Doctors made one thing clear: continuing his career could put his life at serious risk. There was no miracle treatment, no comeback story, no second chance. Just weeks later, with tears in his eyes, Sergio Aguero stood before the world's media and announced his retirement. At just 33 years old, his Barcelona career had lasted only 5 appearances, 1 goal, and a dream that never truly began. Football is filled with stories of players who chased one final adventure. Some succeeded, some failed. Sergio Aguero never even got the opportunity. His final chapter wasn't ruined by poor performances. It wasn't destroyed by criticism. It wasn't taken away by age. It was taken away by something no amount of talent could overcome: his own heart. Yet perhaps that's not how his story should be remembered. Not for 5 appearances at Barcelona. Not for the retirement announcement. Not for the dream that never happened. Instead, remember the boy who broke Diego Maradona's record. Remember the teenager who conquered Spain. Remember the striker who transformed Manchester City into champions. He was one of the deadliest strikers the game has ever seen. Some careers end with a farewell. Some end with a trophy. Sergio Aguero's ended with a diagnosis. But his legacy was already immortal.